Awesome. Be equally loud for Pete. Right.
Thank you. This is my first time up here, and I'm very honored to be here. This is the story of the most expensive piece of food I ever ate. And it goes back to when I first graduated from college. Had an English degree, I was a writer, and I had a plan. I was going to go to Chicago, and I was going to get a job as a bartender, and I was going to meet dirty people and stay up late and get drunk and go home with a bottle of vodka and just sit at that typewriter till dawn, which was, I thought, a good plan. But I couldn't find a job bartending, and I couldn't find a job doing much of anything else. And just week after week and month after month, I just got more and more broke. And I'm not talking about the kind of broke where you can't pay your bills. I'm talking about the kind of broke where you have no food and you have no money. And it was so bad for me that I had a friend of mine that worked at this health club, and he had this powder stuff called dietary muscle builder. And it came in like a drum. Like just the biggest, and there were 6 of them, and he gave it to me for nothing because people apparently didn't care for it, but it was a full meal. I mean, you looked at it, it had everything you wanted, and I would make these things, and I was having like 2 of them a day, and I thought, this is great, it says it's a full meal, and, you know, and my muscles are going to build, but apparently, you know, if you don't do anything to build your muscles, the powder just doesn't do anything for you except make you real skinny. But I finally did get a job. I got a job at a place called Vie de France. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. It's a little bit like a au bon pain. It was a job waiting tables. And it's like one of those places that they just thought, we'll mix together some eggs and some broccoli and cheese and eggs and whatever. We'll call it French food. And I would go in there, and it was great to have a job, but it was really great to see all that food. And, you know, for those of you who are wondering, you know, do waiters eat your food? They do. And there were all different kinds. I mean, there were counterfeiters. And a counterfeiter is somebody who, like, when the cook puts the food up on the counter, like a French fry will fall off or a chicken wing. And, you know, you can sort of have those, and pretty quickly you'll learn if you just bump it with your elbow. It's like a piñata. You can just eat whatever you want. And then there's garbage feeders. And garbage feeders are the ones who eat the food when it comes back into the kitchen after it's been out there. And I was one of those, too. Because that's the good stuff, like hamburgers and, you know, steak and salad, you know, with a fork you can get in there. And, you know, every now and then when you just see what was going out, like if some waiter was bringing a shrimp salad to a 5-year-old kid, you knew that was coming back. And I'd be like in the back making a cocktail sauce, getting ready for it. And it'd come back and, you know, they probably licked it, shoved it up their nose. Who cares? You wash it off in water, you dip it in cocktail sauce, you're all set. So one day, you know, things were going pretty well, but it was a pretty quiet day. It was about 3 o'clock. Nobody was there. The boss was in her office. The cook was there. And one guy comes in and he orders some French onion soup. So the soup comes up, and I look at it, and just dripping down the side of that bowl is some Swiss cheese. I mean, it's like a blob of yellow, golden, just deliciousness in your mouth. And I know it's going to happen. It's going to come back in. It's going to be hardened on the plate. Just decide, nah, no one's looking. I'm just going to take that and stick it in my mouth. So I head out to give the guys food, put the food on, you know, right in front of them, and I feel this little pull on my lip. And I look down, and there's a string of cheese going from my mouth to this guy's food. All right. No, but whoa. I'm pretty quick. I'm a pretty quick guy. I mean, I've been on the job 2 weeks. I know how to handle things like this. I look at the guy and I say, let me get you another bowl of soup. Right? I mean, this happens. Surely this must have happened somewhere. So I think, you know, I get him another bowl of soup, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe I got away with it. He didn't say anything. I think the guy was in shock. But I go and I give him his check, and he looks up at me and he says, look, you know, there's 2 things we can do here. One is I can tell your boss. 2 is you can tell your boss. But you got to admit, for the sake of all humanity, somebody has got to tell your boss. And he was really mad, but he wasn't mad like, I can't believe you did this. He was more mad like, he just wanted to get a bowl of soup, and now he's involved in something. Now he's got to deal with stuff, and I put him in this position. So I just opted that I would tell my boss, so I went and told my boss, and you can probably imagine how this went. She looked at me and she said, well, I hope you really enjoyed it because you're fired. And, that was the most expensive taste of food you've ever put in your mouth. And I really hope you enjoyed it. And as I was walking out the door, I thought about it, and yeah, I did. Thanks, guys.
Come on, Pete. Yay. Awesome. Let's give Pete another round of applause. That was great.